With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Welcome back. Race fans, we'll go back through that intro one more time since the mics were muted. How you doing? How you feeling? Glad you could all be with us here tonight for round number 7 in the RB RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series. That's right, back here once again at Daytona International Super Speedway. Drivers already out there on track putting down their qualifying laps. Looks like Lee Staples and that 5 machine top of the speed charts right now, 50.59 for the quick time for Staples here tonight. 11 drivers with their lap in, and with just about 20 seconds remaining, doesn't look like we're gonna get very much left on the speed charts. Multiple drivers just electing to start wherever iRacing slots them in at. So with all that being said, I mean, that was a quick little run there for qualifying to come to an end. Drivers gonna get ready to strap themselves in their RB RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series machines and get ready to fire things off for the first time here tonight from Daytona International Speedway. And with that being said, race fans, we're going to step down trackside for just a brief moment for the national anthem. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with your starting lineup for tonight's Daytona 240.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly wailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular their bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
And back trackside as these drivers make their final round through the pre-race inspection. A few drivers yet to hit the starting grid, so I tell you what, why not run down a little bit of your official business heading into tonight's race with 6 races already in the books. We have had a total of 5 different winners so far this season. Austin Hill, only driver to make it to victory lane 2 times this season. Tommy Haynes sitting on top of the point standings. John Wimbish just behind him. John Furness, Jason Ayerson, Nick Hunt round out your top 10. All of those drivers still in very close range with each other. Don't count out Jonathan Cogswell or Justin Gann sitting right there in the 7th spot. Lee Staples, Mike Franklin, Jim Ott, all right there inside of your top 10, all still within striking distance as we begin to make that climb towards the chase. We're about the midway point in the season, so these drivers going to look to try to get all that they can, and it looks like most of those drivers now are making their way to the starting grid here tonight. So with all that being said, all of your championship point standings pretty much done and over with so far. There you can see a few drivers with some bad luck here tonight. Michael Atkins Jr., one of the newer drivers to the series. He's trying to climb his way up, sitting right there in the 25th spot in the point standings. Look for that 41 To make his way a little bit further up through the point standings, Michael Atkins Jr. has been fast every time we have seen him on track, and just waiting for a few drivers there at the front of the field to hit the grid. Looks like your pole sitter has had some troubles getting through tech. Now able to make his way to the track. There you can see him, all these drivers beginning to get lined up down there on pit road. So looks like we do hear those wonderful bells in the background. It's time to give you tonight's starting lineup for the Daytona 240 here in the Swift of Motorsports RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series. Rolling off pole position inside row number 1, the 5 of Lee Staples. Just beside him, just to his outside, the Florida native, the 51 of Michael Mueller. Row number 2 here tonight, the 56 of John Wimbish, followed by David Cameron. Justin Gannon, Jonathan Cogswell gonna make up row number 3. Row number 4 here tonight, the 28 of Andrew Mraz, followed by the 4 of Jim Ott. Starting in the 9th position here tonight, that 66 of Edward Bray. Rounding out your top 10 in the starting lineup here tonight, the 62 of Stephen Ayers Jr. Inside row number 6, the 18 of Casey Duncan, followed by the 42 of Robbie Oddie. Row number 7 here tonight, the 22 of Todd Cray and the 82 of Mike Franklin. Nick Hunt and Tommy Haynes going to make up row number 8. Row number 9, Brandon Fries and a Michael Atkins Jr. Terry Connon, 33, going to start in that 19th spot, and that of JB Motorsports, the 44 of Jason Ayerson, will round out your top 20. Gary Wells going to start in that 21st starting position. Nigel Christensen right there in 22nd. Kate Sarah and Don Kidder are up in the control booth for us tonight. I believe Bob Deuce may be up there as well. Deuce actually on the track. So do give a big time shout out to Kidder up there in a race control, keeping everything straight. And that is your starting lineup for tonight's Daytona 240. That's right, 96 laps around this 2.5 mile super speedway. These drivers ready to fire it off for the first time here tonight. And there you can finally hear those engines come to life as the green flag flies for the first time here tonight from Daytona International Super Speedway. Staples off to a good start, but don't look for anybody to really break away here very early. Gonna see a lot of accordion effect out of these Xfinity Series machines. The closing rate on these cars are very, very big, but once you kind of lose the sniff of the draft, it is very hard to walk the driver in front of you back down. The Cup cars kind of lend their hand to a little bit more of a bigger draft, as well as the trucks. The truck series last night with some big time drafts and a big time into tonight's race. Almost 3 wide as David Cameron goes to the top. Cameron not in a good spot here as Jim Ott makes his way by, and Cameron falling further through the field all the way back to the 15th spot. 11 positions lost in just that first lap for Cameron. So the 10 not wanting to be at the front of the field, not wanting to risk it just yet. Very long night ahead of all of these RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series drivers, and looks like most of them already down. Looking that double yellow line looks to be a single file race for the time being. Now drivers looking back to the outside once again. Michael Mueller in that 51, he's hunting the top spot. He's trying to get closer to the front of the field, and something really bothering me here, folks. We may have to move this around. You may see it out there on the screen, and we do apologize about that. But just not quite liking the placement as it is right now here tonight, so we'll look to try to see if we can move that on out the way for you a little bit. that's a little bit better. There you have it. Michael Mueller able to make the pass on the outside with help from Edward Bray. I believe that was Bray on the outside. No, that was Andrew Mraz in his Ford. That Ford Mustang able to push Michael Mueller and his Chevy Camaro around to the top spot. He drops down to the bottom. Now Mraz looking to take that top spot away on the outside lane. Edward Bray, that 66 caught up right behind him. Robbie Oddie right there in that 42. Look at that brightly colored yellow car, just 3 cars back on that high lane, and Mraz drops to the bottom. New race leader, third race leader of the race already in just 3 completed laps here. We have had a different leader crossing the line each time by, and it looks like we do have a driver trying to make his way back to the back of the pack. Looks like the 00 of Nick Hunt. He's bailing. He's had enough. He's going to the back. Drivers already mixing it up. Still double file at the front of this field. Little bit of a scrum going on back near the rear of the pack as well. Drivers trying to sort it all out. Drivers trying to get back single file and see where they really want to run here. Now John Wimbish, he jumps from outside of your pole sitter. He's going to join that high lane. Already your pole sitter sitting 4th in line on that inside lane. That is how many different leaders we have had so far here tonight. 4 different leaders as we begin to head down the backstretch on lap number 5, and you can already see those gaps beginning to develop near the rear of the field. Jason Harrison sitting back in the 20th position, last driver inside the top 20, sitting right about 2.5 seconds off of your race leader. So as these drivers come to complete lap number 5, we'll go ahead and throw some of the time and intervals up there on screen for you. Let you follow along just as we do. And I tell you what, it's still very early in the night. Drivers got a lot of things that they're going to have to keep in mind here. Fuel, tires, all going to come into play. When do you get fuel? When do you get the tires? Well, you know when you get fuel when you're about to run out, but how long do you stay out on older tires? Do you make a green flag pit stop and not get those 4 fresh tires and just get the... Oh, and Robbie Oddie into the outside wall there. Oddie, big time moment. That could have been bad for a lot of the drivers near the front of the field. 3 wide with the 22. Chips Ahoy machine right in the middle. Todd Cray looking to go back to back victory lane appearances here in the RB Riggs Custom Computers Xfinity Series. Cray was looking to try to repeat a race win in the trucks last night as well, pulling off the double header win there from Dover last week in the trucks. Then he headed out to the Hawkeye 146 at Iowa and took the checkered flag over there as well. Unfortunately for Cray, not having a good race night last night. Finished well off of the lead lap. Big move at the front as the 28 in the 51 Bolt dropped back to the bottom. That's going to leave that 22 at the front of that outside lane, as I was alluding to. Todd Cray looking to go back to victory lane here tonight after a dismal race last night. Can he somehow put that 22 Chips Ahoy machine up in victory lane here? Still a very long way to go before we can decide that. And it does look like that outside lane going away. More drivers near the rear of the field. We'll go check this battle out going on back here, because it does look like Nick Hunt. There you can see that 00 first car in that outside lane. He's got help from the 20 of Nigel Christensen, Bob Deuce, Terry Kahn, Jason Harrison, all back there. Harrison rounding out the field here tonight, running Shotgun Sally back there in the 24th starting position. We've got all 24 drivers still on the track. Very long single file run right now near the pretty much the entire field, except for these drivers right here. Todd Cray was leading that outside lane. Andrew Mraz jumps back to the top of the speedway. He's going to take control over that line once again as these drivers make their way back down the backstretch here on lap number 9. Coming to take lap number 10. We have still only had 5 race leaders so far here, but only in 9 laps, so that's quite a lot of jumbling going on at the front of this field. Edward Bray sitting right there, second car inside lane from 6 spots from where he started tonight. And talking about people on the move, Tom Bray up 9 spots from where he started, all the way up in 4th now, started way back in the tail end of the field. Gary Wells, also one of those drivers that have made up a ton of spots. He's made up 9 positions as well, now running just outside of the top 10 in the 12th position. Ooh, little bit of a mix-up going on near the rear of the field. Everything looked to be nice and calm and cool, but now looks like drivers ready to race it out just a little bit harder here very early in tonight's race. Still 86 laps left to go for these RB Rigs Custom Computers Xfinity Series drivers. How long can they keep this pace up? How long can they stay green flag? We've seen the Performance Motorsports Truck Series last night. We seen that one go flag to flag, clean, all the way green last night here from Daytona International Super Speedway. Can these Xfinity Series drivers do so as well? We'll have to wait and see. But with all that being said, if you haven't already, throw these drivers a thumbs up, click subscribe, and smash the bell over there on the right-hand side. Get notified anytime we go live here on the Turn 3 Racing Network, whether it's myself, Darkside, Dave in the Cave, or anybody else back at the Turn 3 headquarters. We do appreciate each and every one of you, each and every time you stop by. Gonna take a little bit of a look from the back end of Todd Gray. There you can see Robbie Oddie, John Wimbish lined up right with him, Jim Ott right down in that Auto Owners number 4 machine, hugging that double yellow line. A little bit of an offset, trying to keep some airflow to that Chevy Camaro is Oddie, and you can just see how much these drivers are moving around with this shot right here. Drivers not very stable here in the draft, all packed up with each other, and that's just how much the air is moving these cars around. Drivers not really doing anything with the wheels. Air pushing these drivers around, jostling them just a little bit. Still at the front of the field, the battle between Andrew Mraz and Michael Mueller continues to rage on, and we'll continue to see this as long as we have got an outside lane. They are not going to go away. Those 5 drivers packed up with each other. Somehow see if they can't slingshot, shake and bake their way to the front of the field here tonight in the Daytona 240. That's right, 96 laps around this world famous hollowed raceway. This is a sight unto its own. If you haven't made it to Daytona International Super Speedway, you have got to go. Fortunate enough to go down there a few years back while Joey Johnson was still running, while Chase Elliott was just coming in. Had the wonderful opportunity to walk through the garage area with hot passes. So a wonderful time down there. And if you can get down to Daytona, I tell you what, it's an experience that you will never forget. And not forgetting how to lead a lane is that 4 of Jim Ott. He jumps to the outside. He'll take over control of that outside lane as more drivers begin to join the calls on the outside. That's going to get things a little bit more heated here at the front of this field. This front pack has your top 15 all running within 1 second of your race leader. So from 1st to 15th, all under 1 second. Justin Gann right there in the 15th spot. That 30 machine is exactly 1.1 seconds back. So I'm telling you what, this is this could be big. If we see the big one right now, it's going to catch quite a few drivers out. Looks like about half of the field wanting to race it out, half of the field wanting to take it easy. Brendan Fries, Casey Duncan, Michael Atkins Jr., David Cameron, Nigel Christensen, Jason Harrison, Terry Kahn, Bob Hughes, all of those drivers laying back a little bit here, trying to get a few laps underneath their belts before they get too heavy on the green flag racing. But up at the front, those 5 drivers continue to try to make that outside lane work. Already working lap number 16 down the backstretch into turn number 3. Driver's going to have to start looking at that fuel tank here. We seen last night drivers only able to make it about 20 laps on the fuel tank. How much further can these Xfinity Series machines make it before they're going to have to come down and they're going to have to top off with fuel? Who's going to get tires on the first top? Who's going to take 2? Who's going to take 4? I think if you take 4, you're a sitting duck and you're going to lose a ton of ground and a ton of time on the field. It's got to be either just right sides and fuel, or maybe the driver might do something sneaky, maybe some left sides in fuel only, because left sides just about 1.1 seconds faster to get the pit stop done. So we'll have to see what crew chiefs and strategists and drivers do. And caution flag on the speedway, looking through the timing and scoring and not seeing much, but David Cameron, he is smoking on the backstretch. So I tell you what, let's go back here, see what happened with Cameron. Oh my goodness. And he immediately just turned right. Oh my, that was, oh, that's rough. David Cameron, hard lick into that outside wall one more time. There you see it off of the front end of that TRD machine. Ooh, I believe that may have been the 20 of Nigel Christensen. Let's go take a look from the cockpit here with Christensen and see what we see from his vantage point. There, just offset a little bit, and Christensen sends the 10 into that outside wall, and that's going to send that 10 car behind the wall, back in the garage already, and out of tonight's Daytona 240. So we'll jump back to the front inside the cockpit, still with that 20 machine. We'll go back outside the track up front with your race leader, Michael Mueller. More than likely, you're going to see all of these drivers hit pit road this time by. Pit road is open. And it does look like we have multiple drivers going to make their way down pit road. Everybody going to reset on the fuel here. We'll have to wait and see if anybody gambles, if anybody's willing to try to make up a little bit of track position by playing those pit road games. We'll have to wait and see how it all shakes out. Everybody into their boxes. No problems, no harm, no foul. Hey, ladies, sit down. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Drivers going to make their way off of pit road. Who's going to win the race off of pit road? Jim Ott. Ott with the fastest, one of the fastest stops, I should say. John Wimbish also with his pit crew doing an amazing job. 10.95 seconds on the pit stop there for a Wimbish, but Ott indeed does have that fastest pit crew for 10.88 seconds for Otten. Oh, looks like Otten may have got it popped with a penalty. Not sure, having to give up a spot there to Michael Mueller. We'll have to wait and see if any more drivers make their way by that 4 machine. And no, just able to cross the line first. Hearing from race control, no, Michael Mueller was able to just barely get a nose out in front of Jim Ott right there at that cone. Ooh. Ford Mustang pace car lights have gone out. Field will begin to get back double file here at the front of this field. Michael Mueller will have control over the race and the restart box. Jim Ott going to line up just to his outside. John Wimbish, Todd Cray, and Andrew Mraz round out your top 5 here on this latest restart. And gotta wonder, oh my goodness, looks like the 28 may have gotten a penalty here. He's having to drop to the back of the field. EOL black flag penalty there for Andrew Mraz. That's going to put him a little bit behind the 8 ball, but we have seen Mraz drive his way to the front of the field. He was the race leader at one point in time. Have to wait and see if he can get back up there. Still a very long way to go, a very long time to make up the mistake. And if you want a mistake, if you want to have a mistake, you want to have it as early as you possibly can. Give yourself enough time to try to overcome that self-inflicted wound. And it does look like Jason Harrison also still down there on pit road right now. So 2 drivers gonna fall off the lead lap as Michael Mueller brings the field off of turn number 4. We're set to go back. Green flag racing here from Daytona International Super Speedway. Pace car ducks on off. We're ready to go once again, and green flag flies as Michael Mueller nails the loud pedal. Away we go. Wimbish right there all over his rear bumper. Jim Ott out there on the outside waiting for help. Lee Staples not getting as good of a start as he was needing to have to get up there and help that for us. Ott now sliding back just a little bit. Going to be even with the 3rd place car on that inside lane. There you can see Todd Cray in that sweet Chips Ahoy machine looking for the back-to-back race wins. Todd Cray looked like he was going to jump to the high side, try to take over the lead of the outside lane. Now he does on entry to 3. That's going to slow up that outside run just a little bit. And here comes the 82 of Mike Franklin. Franklin right here in the picture as well, now running 3rd car inside lane. My goodness, what a mix-up at the front of the field. We've got all types of drivers mixing up here tonight for the Daytona 240. And I tell you what, while it's early, while we've got a chance, why don't we mute the mics for just a brief moment, head down trackside for a little turn it up. And as we give you the sights and sounds, 3 wide at the front of the field. Drivers have been mixing it up this entire time. 3 wide. Now back there for, I believe that is about the 5th spot. That's going to go ahead and calm down just for a moment. Robbiati going to jump to that outside lane, try to take control over that lane. Nick Hunt, Michael Atkins Jr., you've seen him with the onboard camera shot with Nick Hunt. Man, what a push by that 41 machine. Atkins Jr. able to push Hunt all the way around that long train of cars on the inside lane and up to that top spot. Then Atkins Jr. jumping to the bottom, now trying to take the race lead. He's cleared. Will he drop down? No, gonna stay in the high lane. That 42 of Robbiati looking to stay to the high side right now. He's got the 24 of Gary Wells just to his outside. Looks like there's a lap machine right there. Back marker, that 33 of Terry Khan, beaten and battered here on the speedway. Stays to the high side. Looks like the field gonna make their way by. No harm, no foul, as we continue green flag racing once again here at Daytona International Super Speedway. Your top 12, throw a blanket over them. They're all packed up with each other, making their way halfway down the backstretch, almost a third of the way through tonight's race here at Daytona International Super Speedway. Swift Motorsports RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series, live here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Do want to take a brief moment to do some brief house cleaning. We started tonight's race with 24 of these RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series drivers. We have still got 23 out on the track, 21 still on the lead lap, but still a long night ahead of us. Drivers mixing it up hot and heavy right here. That front pack now splitting themselves. 5 cars trying to make a break for it, but not going to have any of it. Last week's race winner, the 22 of Todd Cray, early race leader here tonight. He's trying to bring that outside lane back to the front once again. There you can see the 51 of Michael Mueller, also an earlier race leader here tonight. Nose to tail on that outside lane. They're going to make their way quickly up to Gary Wells and Andrew Mraz. Mraz had an EOL for this restart and already back inside the top 5, back fighting for one of the top spots. And within 10 laps, he went from the absolute last car on the track up into what is now the 3rd position, depending on where you go by the timing and scoring. But now Mraz up inside a podium position after 10 laps ago, receiving an end of the longest line of penalty. Gary Wells going to clear the 42. He's going to drop down to the bottom. That's going to give Andrew Mraz the lead on the outside. Todd Cray still packed up right behind him, tucked in, trying to get a little bit of air when he can. And Michael Atkins Jr., talk about a tale of 10 laps. Look at this. That 41 was up there leading the field momentarily, all within 10 laps. And now last driver scored inside the top 15 right there in that 15th spot. So able to make a run to the front. And was it just an experiment for some of these drivers to try to run to the front? There you can see Nick Hunt possibly having some overheating issues in that Toyota Supra. He's going to pull that a line down to the apron. Looks like drivers going to make their way by. And this is how drivers can get a little bit of distance between themselves unintentionally. There you can see Michael Atkins Jr. having to go the high road, having to go around to the high side. That's going to slow him down just a little bit. Still should have some sort of sniff of a draft off of that 4 of Jim Ott. So fortunate enough for that 41, he is not going to lose the tail end of the lead pack. Jim Ott looks like he may be calculated in his moves getting to the back. He was one of those drivers that also dropped down to the apron a handful of laps ago, made his way towards the rear of the field. Now we've got about 6 drivers packed up with each other right here. Jim Ott, Michael Atkins Jr., Nick Hunt, Justin Gann, Casey Duncan, Brandon Freeze, all right here running with each other. We do have another 2-car pack way behind these drivers, Nigel Christensen and Bob Deuce. Those two drivers electing to run with each other on the track right now. And Cade Sayer, what a lonely drive right now. Sayer, 1.3 seconds back from Bob Deuce, running in that 21st spot. And he's got to get some help somehow. Sayer's going to be losing more and more time as he's starting to fade off the back end of that 2 of Bob Deuce. So Sayer in no man's land, literally. Back at the front, still hot and heavy action side by side for your top 8 spots on track. Make it 10 if you want. You've got 5 lined up on that outside lane. Big push by the 51 on the tail end of that 22. The Chips Ahoy machine able to scoot his way into turn number 1 was clear. To stay to the high side. The inside lane gonna come fighting back, charging back to the front once again. Here comes Andrew Mraz on the bottom. Now Todd Cray looks to get a big shove by that 51. John Wimbish all over the back end of the 51. 3 cars beating and banging down the backstretch. Bump drafting at its finest here at Daytona International Super Speedway in Swift Motorsports Daytona 240. Closing in on this part of the green flag run where we did see earlier trouble in the race, closing in right at about the 16-17 laps into this next green flag run here. We seen that first caution come out back on lap number 17. So drivers right there on that threshold of where they had some problems before and now very distinct. 2 separate packs running on the speedway. Your top 12 all right here packed up with each other, with 5 of them trying to dig on that outside lane there. You can see Jim Ott still with this pack, but kind of splitting between himself and the drivers right behind him. Justin Gann, Nick Hunt, Casey Duncan, Brandon Freeze all lined up on the track, trying to give themselves a little bit of a buffer zone, a little bit of a safety net, if you will, as the drivers continue to mix it up side by side at the front. And Jim Ott, he used that run, he used the draft to not just catch up, but he caught up, made his way to the outside. Now he's the 6th car lined up onto that outside, and Ott looking to make his way back inside the top 10. When will these drivers hit pit road for some more fuel? Will we see some of these drivers take tires as well? Most of these guys looks like they already took those 4 tires underneath that first caution. So will we see some of them take a 2-tire stop or 4? We'll have to wait and see. I do believe the pit window gonna open up here in about the next 10 to 15 laps before these drivers will indeed have to come down to pit road. Michael Mueller gonna drop to the bottom. Todd Gray gonna keep that high lane running. Got John Wimbish in that familiar cheer line machine right there. You see him slotted in now, the 5th position. 2nd car outside lane trying to push Cray back to the front. A lot of action up towards the front. Drivers searching for some clean air. Jim Ott drops to the bottom. He's going to almost take off the nose of that 62. Jim Ott with some trouble. He's falling back. We did see a little bit of smoke, not seeing any slow vehicles, so it was not an engine popping, but it looks like drivers may be ready to come sort themselves out and get ready for a green flag pit stop. We have seen it before where drivers a handful of laps before those green flag pit stops will all migrate back to the bottom, back single file to give themselves a better opportunity at not having a mistake getting to pit road. So now your top 12 all lined up, nose to tail of a few of the drivers back near the rear of this lead pack. Are looking like they're going to try to make some moves here. And once again, Jim Ott says, I've had enough. He's going to try the run back to the front. And once again, he'll receive some help here in just a minute. There you can see the 27 of Jonathan Cogswell trying to come up and aid that run, but he is all alone. Nobody else coming with him. So the only two drivers out there on that outside lane right now, Ott and Cogswell, and they're falling through the field. Spots beginning to open up for these drivers to drop down from the high side down into that bottom lane. They're not going to do so. They've got a back marker just off in front of them. That's the 12 of Cade Sayer. Sayer in danger of going down one lap here as we close in on the lap number 40 mark here tonight. Going to be 3 wide for just a brief moment. Ott's going to make his way through as well, and I believe that may be Gary Wells right there in that 24 machine. There you can see him. Third car outside lane as Robbie Oddie has a moment through the tri-oval. That 42 fluorescent yellow machine getting a little bit squirrely coming through that tri-oval and across the start and finish line. Still hanging strong on that outside, fighting his way to the front of the field using the side draft and all. Here comes that 4 of Jim Ott right there now side by side with the 28 of Andrew Moraz, pulling even with the drivers heading into turn number 3. And now a little bit of connection issues for that 24 as well as the 51, having a little bit of a flash on the screen as well. The rest of the field behind these drivers all single file here, looking like we are making our way closer to that first round of green flag pit stops here tonight. Drivers gonna have to get these machines load up in time. Gonna have those pesky pit road police down there monitoring very, very closely. And you don't gotta worry just about the radar. You gotta worry about the drivers in front of you, the drivers coming in behind you. Do they have their braking points figured out already here tonight? Will they get on the brakes a little harder than you expected? Will a driver not get on the brakes as hard behind you and get into the back end of you? We've seen it happen multiple different ways in multiple different variations. The driver's going to stay out on the speedway to take lap number 42. The 96 scheduled in the official race distance here tonight. We have been green flag since our first and only caution coming out right around lap number 16, 17. Green flag since the drop of the green flag on the restart. So multiple laps here, upwards of right around, what is that, 30 laps, let's call it. 30 laps green flag racing for these RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series drivers. And those pit stops going to be very crucial, very critical. And still calculated moves by the drivers in the rear of this field. There you can see Justin Gann, Nick Hunt, as well as Casey Duncan and Brandon Fries. They're going to stay about a second off of that lead pack, trying to give themselves enough time if anything happens. And coming to pit road that time by was Lee Staples, Edward Bray, the 41 of Michael Atkins Jr. on the pit road. Cade Sayer makes his way back on to pit road as well. So all 4 of those drivers on the pit road that time by. When will your race leader up here at the front of the field? When will that 51 of Mueller bring his machine to pit road for the service here tonight? How long will he stay out? Drivers tucked up. Looks like they're not going to exit the speedway just yet. More drivers going to come. Big time run. Oh my goodness. Gary Wells, Stephen Ayers Jr., not sure. Stephen Ayers Jr. Woo. That has got to be a pit road penalty. He came flying onto pit road. That was probably the fastest I've ever seen somebody come to pit road here at Daytona International Super Speedway. So we'll keep an eye on the pit road report, see if we don't get that 62 pop for speeding. If not, he made up a ton of time on that entry. More drivers to pit road this time by. That's going to really shake up the front of the field. We'll keep an eye on this one. Oh, on the brakes. Big time on the brakes. That 42 of Robbiati. We'll have to see if he is on that pit road report as well. So Mraz, Audi, Mueller, Franklin, Ott, Wimbish, and Haynes all to pit road. That's going to leave the race lead to this man. Once again, front of the field, that 22 of Todd Cray. Cray going to take over the lead of the race, and here comes Justin. Oh, big push by Cogswell on the back end of that 22. That gets him all sorts of out of shape. That could have been a big-time moment. Now that four-car pack of Gann, Hunt, Duncan, and Freeze makes their way to the back of Todd Cray. They're all going to break for pit road this time by. Oh, close. Hunt hard on the brake. 3 wide coming to pit road. Justin Gann with a little bit of an advantage. We'll have to wait to see if Cray lets him by. Cray going to hit his pit box. We'll jump back out to the speedway with what should be your eventual race leader. Looks like that 28 of Andrew Mraz will inherit the race lead. Mike Franklin closing in quickly right behind him, and Mraz way up the track, way up into that outside wall. He's going to give up a little bit of time. Mike Franklin going to soldier on and make his way by. As Todd Cray, Casey Duncan, Justin Gann, Nick Hunt, Brandon Freeze, they make their way off of pit road back onto the back stretch. There you can see Cray. Can he come out and rejoin the raceway in front of this field and getting the job done? Gonna be close. Here comes Mraz right there behind him. Mike Franklin on a charge. There you see Mike Franklin all alone on that outside lane. The 82 to the front of the field. New race leader on lap number 46 for the first time here tonight. The 82 of Mike Franklin puts it in that top spot on the scoring pylon. His Ford Mustang perked up and ready to go. That Black Rifle Coffee 82 machine, man, I tell you what, that was one heck of a run there after that green flag pit stop. And now the drivers that were laying back for the majority of that first run there now find themselves right here at the front. Justin Gann, Andrew Mraz was there the entire time. Nick Hunt, Brandon Freeze, all of these drivers very close now inside the top 10 and with a chance to pounce here tonight. Nigel Christensen being scored the first car off of the lead lap. There you can see that 20 machine sitting third car in lane just behind him. That 2 of Bob Deuce also being scored off of the lead lap. So a battle for their lucky dog position right here at the front of the field with a battle for the race lead. Todd Cray packed up right behind that 82 of Franklin. At the halfway point, we have got a much different race than what we had just a handful of laps ago. Mike Franklin, Black Rifle Coffee 82 Ford Mustang with the control of the race right now in that top spot. Todd Cray right behind him. Casey Duncan, Michael Mueller, Andrew Mraz round out your top 5. And a big split between this pack and the next pack, 2.5 seconds back for Brandon Freeze. He leads Michael Atkins Jr., Lee Staples, Gary Wells, John Wimbish, Tommy Haynes right there as well. Jim Ott in danger of losing that second pack. And Robbiotti, Edward Bray, as well as Stephen Ayers Jr., those drivers well off the pace, well behind that second pack, who is beginning to form up and get single file. And that is the best thing for them to do right now, as this lead pack is single file. They are beginning to get the speeds back up, but slowly and surely, Brandon Freeze a little bit faster. Last time by, race leader with a 48.28. Freeze leading that pack with a 47.18, so a tenth of a second faster. They are closing. They will get there, and there they are, already back down to 1.2 seconds between those two drivers. And oh, big time moment. Stephen Ayers Jr. goes flying up the raceway. He's going to lose a ton of ground, lose some more spots here tonight, drop back to the 20th spot. Ayers Jr. being scored just one lap down here tonight after a big rough moment getting on to pit road. Pit road penalty ensued for him. That put him back behind the 8 ball just a little bit more than what maybe he wanted it to be. And interesting to see that gap has went away. We have got our top 15 all nose to tail. Once again, here from Daytona International Super Speedway, drivers make their way into turn number 3. Here comes Nick Hunt, that double O, looking for the front. Man doing it all on his own right now. Nobody willing to jump to that outside and give him help, but help is on the way. The fast 41 of Michael Atkins Jr. slowly making his way there. With help, I believe that is the 28, as well as John Wimbish. No, that's the 24 of Gary Lewis, just in front of John Wimbish, and they are making their way to help Nick Hunt out. Now Mraz jumps to that high side. He'll take control over that outside lane as drivers get shuffled out of this front pack. The 2 of Bob Deuce, driver being scored one lap down. He gets shuffled out and onto the apron. Big time moment. Oh my goodness. Up into Justin Gann. Lee Staples goes around. The 2 of Bob Deuce involved. Oh, and here comes Stephen Ayers Jr. He collects the 30 once again. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We'll go back and take a look at this one, see how it all went down. There you've seen some contact from Bob Deuce. Back up onto the track. Justin Gann hard into that 27, hard into the 5. Oh, Justin Gann running well, had a great strategy going in. Now all for not heavy impact. We already seen that motor blow with that initial impact, and then just cleanup hitting right there. Going for the grand slam, man. I tell you what, Stephen Ayers Jr. ripped the rear end off of that 30 machine. There you can see, trying to miss it and just not able to. Multiple drivers caught up in this latest one. Multiple drivers gonna be off of the speedway. That is going to put quite a few drivers on pit road and quite a few drivers behind the pit wall. And the Sunday morning breakfast club brings the machines to pit road. I mean, what's better than coffee and Chips Ahoy? I mean, it doesn't get much better. Just saying, well, you know, it's my opinion, but whatever. Entire field comes to pit road once again as we find ourselves under caution for the second time here tonight. The 20 of Nigel Christensen, he's going to stay out. He's going to get himself back on the lead lap. So with all that being said, race fans, we're going to step away from the track for a brief commercial break. We'll be back with all your green flag action live here from Daytona International Super Speedway on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Looks like our turn it up, wanting to go to action, wanting to go to work. And as a matter of fact, we're getting ready to go back to action, getting ready to go back to work. Field double file as they make their way through turn 3 and 4 after our second caution caught out. Quite a few drivers, Stephen Ayers Jr. as well as Lee Staples, both on to pit road. Justin Gann, very wounded machine out there, as well as Jonathan Cogswell. He was caught up in this latest one. You can see those drivers trying to catch up to the lead pack as green flag flies once again for the third time here tonight at Daytona International Super Speedway for the Daytona 250 here in Swift Motorsports RB Riggs Custom Computers Xfinity Series. That 82 Black Rifle coffee machine powered by Ford Performance. Up at the front of the field, he's got Michael Mueller all over his tail end, pushing the daylights out of him down the backstretch. John Wimbish puts his Toyota Supra to the outside just in front of that 22 of Todd Cray. Cray has been hunting the front ever since having it, has led multiple laps here tonight. No clear-cut winner of the most laps led award so far here tonight. I do want to take a brief moment. Why don't we go back and check in with a few of the drivers here tonight. Jim Ott sitting way back in the field, back in the 10th spot. Take a look at that Ford machine. There you can see him. He's about the 5th or 6th car in line, and a big move by Mueller. He's going to make his way around on the outside. Andrew Mraz follows him down to the bottom of the speedway. Will we see some more? Will we see some blocking begin to develop as, looks like we've got a driver ready to go 3 wide. Looks like Michael Atkins Jr. looked to put that Mountain Dew 41 machine 3 wide for just a brief moment. Thought better of it. Fell back in line with the 22 of Todd Gray and John Wimbish. 3 cars on that high side, hustling around this high-banked, high-speed, kind of a crapshoot, if you will. Roll the dice. Let's see what you get. Kind of bet that's the kind of a night it is for a lot of these drivers out there. After that latest caution, gonna put us through a little bit more house cleaning. We had 24 drivers start tonight's Daytona 240. We've still got 18 drivers on the speedway, 17 still on the lead lap, but losing a ton of time to that lead pack is Justin Gann. We've seen Gann pretty much destroyed under that last caution. Trying to get out there, soldier on, persevere, get all that he can get, because that cutoff for the chase is coming up here in just a handful of races. Each and every race is here for these RB Riggs Custom Computers Xfinity Series drivers. Still side by side for the race lead. Michael Mueller leading the bottom lane. John Wimbish at the top. Todd Gray right there. Andrew Mraz, one of those drivers that has been very familiar to the front of the field here tonight, running right there just behind him. Second car in that inside lane. And talk about a different scenario for these drivers coming up in this Xfinity Series. We hit another famous track next week, next Wednesday night, right here at 8:05 p.m. Eastern Time, live on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Swift Motorsports heads to the Brickyard Indianapolis Motor Speedway for another great installment of the RB Riggs Custom Computers Xfinity Series. Then these drivers head off to another famous track, famous for eating up some machines. That's right, the Lady in Black Darlington Raceway on the schedule here in just 2 weeks for Swift Motorsports RB Riggs Custom Computers. So keep your eyes posted here to the Turn 3 Racing Network. Some great racing action coming up in the next handful of weeks for Swift Motorsports right here on Turn 3 Racing Network. Michael Mueller on the bottom, still leading that inside lane. John Wimbish looking to see if he can't get that cheer wine machine up to the front, up to that top spot. Big push by Cray. Wimbish gonna clear. Will he drop him and leave him hanging to the high side? And yes, he does. Cray gonna take over the lead of that outside lane. Now we've got the 41 of Michael Atkins Jr. I apologize. Stephen Ayers Jr. down on pit road after being involved in that latest incident of Michael Atkins Jr. That 41 Mountain Dew machine in strong right now, trying to push Todd Cray and the Chips Ahoy Camaro back to the front. And I tell you what, we've got another great snack right there. We've got the battle with Cheer Wine and Mountain Dew. And who is going to team up with the Chips Ahoy driver and give ourselves a little bit of dessert? Your top 15 still packed up with each other on the track right now. And I tell you what, race fans haven't went to it yet. Let's go high above the track here tonight with the Turn 3 drone cam as we watch the front of the field. Michael Mueller right there tucked in all over the rear spoiler of that 56 machine. That Toyota Supra looking sweet out front right now. And Wimbish liking what he's seen, and that's that inside lane begin to pull away from the outside. Now 3 cars have completely cleared Todd Cray, so the outside lane falling back. Oh, as it looks like 3 wide as Michael Atkins Jr. puts his 41 to the high side of Cray. Cray gonna be stuck in the middle. Robbie Otti right there as well. 3 wide as the 17 stuffs it to the middle, leaving that 41 high and dry. Justin Gann, driver, going off of the lead lap. He keeps it to the high side. Now to the outside. The 00 of Nick Hunt jumps to the top. Drivers all over the speedway making some moves. Nick Hunt seen the opportunity to jump in front of a very fast Todd Cray. He jumps to that outside lane, now pulls even with the 82, and now there you see what a run down the backstretch, making up a car and a half on the drivers on the inside lane. Splitting bumpers now is Nick Hunt. Can he get the run once again off of this turn number 4? And well, depends. And I know some of you dedicated fans out there understand the reference. For those of you that don't, we'll see if you can understand it now. There you can see guard your manhood, which depends on the car for that 00 of Nick Hunt, now making his way up side by side with second place Michael Mueller in looking for more drag racing. Wimbish gets turned. Oh my good, the big one. Cars flipping. The 17 goes over. Oh my. That right there, that is the big one here tonight. Multiple drivers gonna be caught up in this one. Oh my goodness, calamity, chaos has reigned supreme here tonight on lap number 66. Oh my goodness. We'll take one more look at this one here. There you see Wimbish off the front end of Mueller into the 00 of Hunt. Robbie Otti involved. Todd Cray gets caught up. Edward Bray catches a piece. Looks like Michael Atkins Jr. also catching some of this one. Oh my. We're going to have to go to a little bit better of an advantage for this one. We'll take a look here. Right off the nose into the 00. Todd Cray caught up the 82. There you see the 20 of Christensen. The 56 of Wimbish flipping down the track. Oh my. We'll take a ride with Wimbish here on this one. This was a wild ride for Wimbish. Oh my. It's, it is never good when you see that. One more time from the cockpit with your race leader Wimbish hard into the wall, and there you see the air. just about a 2-hour drive, and you can get to some great roller coasters over there at Disney World, but not here at Daytona International Superspeedway. Not the night that the 56 wanted to have, but somehow he was able to come to a rest on his 4 tires. There you can see the carnage that the 56 had. Whew. That is pretty rough. Back live at the front of the field, inside that pace car. Take a look at this Ford Mustang right here, being piloted by well, we don't have a pace car driver's name tonight. I wasn't quick enough to think of one, so it's the automated Tesla version of the Ford Mustang pace car out there with auto drive tonight. What do you think about that recovery? And Andrew Mraz makes his way off of pit road first. He will have control over the race into this restart. And while we find ourselves under our 3rd caution here tonight, we're going to break away for yet another commercial break, so don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with all your green flag action live here from Daytona International Superspeedway.
We got big time problems with that motor, buddy. Hey, just between you and me, the idea is to avoid the other cars. Congratulations! You just set the sport back 30 years with that move. That move will put you in the Hall of Shame. You keep doing stuff like that and we're going to lose our sponsor. Looks like that's it for us today. Now I know why you got canned by your old team. It's over. We can't fix that damage. Your car is toast. You'll need a tow back to pit lane. Press and hold your reset button and we'll come and get you.
Back track side as the Ford Mustang pace car lights have gone out. We are just under the 30 laps remaining mark here in tonight's Daytona 240. The big one just happened. That last caution number 3 on the evening for these drivers, and John Wimbish now back behind pit wall. We are left with just 17 drivers on the track. Jason Ayerson, Lee Staples, both of those drivers heavily damaged out there. Todd Gray, also one of the drivers damaged in that latest incident, will rejoin the front of the field with your race leader, Andrew Mraz, as he gets ready to fire it off once again here tonight from Daytona International Superspeedway. Pace car going to make that left-hand turn, and there it goes. Wait for it, and green flag flies once again here on the speedway. Up through the gears, everybody nice and clean, and what a big miss there under that last wreck, that last crash. The 41 able to manipulate his way through all the carnage and chaos going on around him, and he found his way through it down there on the apron, was able to cut through some of the grass spots and able to make his way to the front of the field. Big move jumping to the outside. Here comes that 41 Mountain Dew machine, and he's looking for that top spot. Robbie Oddie in the 42. He had a little bit of that damage as well, but not looking like it's slowing him down at all. Oddie gonna push the 41 around and now drop down to the bottom. Both of those drivers take over the lead of that inside lane. Jim Ott with a tall task at hand. He has only got that 24 of Gary Wells behind him to help. Will those two drivers stay out there, or will they drop to the bottom here in the next lap or two? Trying to keep our eye on the fuel strategy in the fuel game here. I do believe these drivers are going to just be short on making it to the end. We'll have to keep an eye on the radio as these crew chiefs and spotters all communicate with the drivers letting them know how they're running, how much fuel they can be saving. And here comes that 4 of Jim Ott to the outside. Wells with a big push. These drivers looking to make some more ground up. Robbiotti had enough of pushing. He wants to lead a few laps here. 42 jumps to the high side. Andrew Mraz walks up the track just a little bit, but still staying right there in that second spot on the inside lane. Big moment for Wells. Wells forced up to the high side. 3 wide back for the 5th position. Drivers slowly sort that little bit of a mess out. Still 3 wide as Robbiotti stuck in the middle. Now that 42 machine makes his way by Gary Wells. Wells gonna slot in behind the 42, and now looks like these drivers beginning to get the single file. This is your first pack right here, kind of in no man's land right now. This driver right here, the 27 of Jonathan Cogswell, he was caught up in one of the earlier race incidents back on our second caution. Jonathan Cogswell had some damage nothing of his own doing, but that's the way it is here at Daytona International Superspeedway. That's why these drivers call it a gambling track, a crapshoot of a race, if you will. Casey Duncan right here being followed closely by the 30 of Justin Gann. All of these drivers have been on the pit road for long extended stays. All of these drivers in this entire pack have had some damage in there. You can see the front clip missing on that 22 of Todd Cray. So Cray not going to be able to repeat last week's race win again here tonight. So falling short on going back-to-back both nights in a row. Todd Cray not going to get the job done. He's going to have to look forward to Indianapolis Motor Speedway to try to visit victory lane once again. And as the drivers continue to make their way around the track, we'll jump back up with the man at the front of the field, up 17 spots from where he started tonight's race. That 41 of Michael Atkins Jr. now controlling the race, but the driver that has been the biggest mover right there, third car on that inside lane, Nigel Christensen. What a run. Started 19 spots away from where he's running right now, all the way back in the 22nd spot. Christensen almost tail end of the field on the start of tonight's race. So a big time shout out and congratulations for making your way all the way up here towards the front of the field and into the third and final podium spot. Big push now by Michael Mueller on the back end of that 20 machine. That's going to get him a little bit loose as he pushes on the 28 of Mraz. Mraz pushing Atkins. With only 22 laps to go this time by, as your race leader crosses the line, we'll run through a little bit of your driver highlights as they are on the track leading the race right now. Oh, we're actually not on the race leader. Do apologize there. You can see Michael Atkins Jr. in that 41 machine up there leading the race. The Mountain Dew Camaro looking nice and sweet up there at that top spot. Nigel Christensen at a Cedar Rapids. There you can see that 27-year-old big time run for Christensen. That was second, but now being shown in the fourth spot, and a driver that has been up here the entire race. We'll take a look at this man leading the outside lane. There you can see Michael Mueller, who's going to drop to the bottom. No, he'll stay to the top side. He'll stay right in front of another driver that has been here all night along, the 31-year-old out of East Lansing, Michigan. Lowline Racing's very own Andrew Mraz has that Ford Mustang looking great here tonight. He has been up at the front pretty much the entire race. And another driver that has been up at the front pretty much the entirety of tonight's race right there. Nigel Christensen again on your screen there. You can see heck of a run by him, as well as the driver slotted in just behind him, Edward Bray, with a solid run here tonight just outside of your top 5, running in the 7th position. Big breakaway for these front 9 drivers. They have got about 23 seconds back to Jonathan Cogswell, who is still about 5 seconds out in front of Casey Duncan, Justin Gann, Mike Franklin, Todd Cray, Tommy Haynes, and Nick Hunt. Last drivers on the track, those drivers on the lead lap, but those drivers very heavily damaged as we have got the 20 lap to go here. Drivers going to have to start formulating and plotting their moves. You can't make it happen. Well, I'll stop that. I was going to say you can't make it happen in one lap. If you're going to try to take over the race lead, you're going to have to work on it for at least 2, possibly 3 or more laps. So will we see some of these drivers begin to test the waters, begin to test maybe a run through the middle with a 3 wide situation? Are they willing to risk the incident this late in the race, knowing that there's just these 9 drivers? You gotta know that the crew chiefs and spotters are out there on the radios letting them know, hey, look, it's a 9-car breakaway with you guys at the front. Let's not do anything too stupid here. Let's get to the end. But you gotta know what you can do. Michael Atkins Jr., big peel off of the raceway. He drops to the back of this pack. He's looking to possibly maybe save some fuel, getting behind some of these drivers. And remember, race fans, I said they were just on the outside of that fuel window looking in. Will we see drivers hit pit road with 3 wide at the front of the field? 3 wide at the front of the field as the drivers make their way around the track. Gary Wells caught to that high side all alone once again as Robbiati takes control over that outside lane, tucked in just in front of the 4 of Jim Ott. Ott has been hot and heavy up at the front all race long as well. Backed up side by side for your top 8 positions. Michael Atkins Jr. playing it safe. Looks like right now is a big push from Ott. Almost clears that 42. Almost able to drop down in front of that 28. So Robbiati has a fast machine, but can he get around? Andrew Mraz down there on that inside lane. We have seen this tandem working all throughout tonight's race here in the Daytona 240 for Swift Motorsports RB Riggs Custom Computers. Xfinity Series, we have seen Mueller pushed by Mraz the majority of the time. These 2 drivers have been with each other, but these 2 drivers right here, man, I'm telling you, they have worked phenomenally well with each other. Oh, big moment there for Christensen. He gets all sorts of out of shape, still slipping and sliding back there in that 42 Toyota Supra. Big time moment for the 20. And I tell you, a big time moment about to unfold. This lead pack who are double file right now with just 16 laps to go. They're 42 seconds in front of Nick Hunt. So Hunt right on the verge of falling off of the lead lap here tonight. That is the driver running in the 16th position. And there you can see just off in the foreground that pack of cars that I was talking about, that I was alluding to. Justin Gann, Todd Cray, Mike Franklin, Tommy Haynes, Nick Hunt, all of those drivers packed up with each other. That's more than likely going to give us a big-time 3-wide moment once again coming to the end of tonight's race as drivers will make their way by the stripe, this time by just 15 laps remaining for Andrew Mraz to try to put that 28 machine into victory lane for the first time this season. Tommy Haynes, John Furness, Nick Hunt, Austin Hill, and Todd Cray, your 5 different race winners so far this season in the RB Riggs Custom Computers Xfinity Series. Only driver to make it to victory lane multiple times this season in the Xfinity Series has been the 16 of Austin Hill. Austin not here tonight. Ooh, that was close. As we were saying, Austin Hill and that 16 machine not here at the Speedway on iRacing.com, the world's #1 racing simulator. No, he's not here on the track tonight, but he is down here in Daytona International Super Speedway, down in Daytona Beach, Florida, gearing up, getting ready to run his NASCAR truck race on Friday night. So a big time shout out to that 16 of Austin Hill. We wish you well. We wish you the best. And bring that thing home on Friday night in real life here from Daytona International Super Speedway. We will have our eyes glued on you on the Turn 3 Racing Network, so make us proud. We know you will. And it did mix up that front pack for just a brief moment. They were all able to navigate their way through the back markers there, but a few of those drivers trying to keep touch, but not looking like they're going to be able to do so. Now just 13 laps remaining and 9 drivers left on the lead lap, and that's those 9 drivers right there in front of that 27 of Jonathan Cogswell. Cogswell being scored the first car off of the lead lap, while we've got 3 wide at the front again. The 42 of Adi goes back to the middle, looking for the top spot of that outside lane. He's going to grab control. Gary Wells going to slot in just behind him. Nigel Christensen right there, but the 2 cars at the front of that inside lane continue to dominate tonight's race. The 51 of Michael Mueller with Andrew Mraz have been up inside your top 5 pretty much the majority of tonight's race, pretty much the entirety of the race, that is. As that lead pack makes their way by the heavily wounded 62 of Stephen Ayers Jr. Ayers just trying to make up all that he can here tonight. As you see the timing and scoring scrolling by, we have got a ton of cars behind the 8 ball and already back. And contact on the track. Oh my goodness. More drivers involved in that one. Caution flag flies. Brandon Freese caught up. We'll take a look back, see what happened here. I'm catching it a little bit late there with Freeze, so we'll see if we can't get a better vantage point, a better angle of it. And there you see Jim Ott, the 21 of Brandon Freeze, goes around. Edward Bray in the 66 also involved in this incident, so we'll take one more look at it here. Catching it a little bit late, but there you can see that 4 of Jim Ott beaten and battered. Also, Brandon Freeze caught up in this one. Edward Bray in the 66 caught up in this one. So 3 drivers involved in the latest incident on the track here tonight, and we'll jump back up front with your race leader, that 28 out of Low Line Racing. Andrew Mraz looking to go to victory lane for the first time this season. Newcomer making a big time splash. Robbie Oddie in that 42 machine. Man, look at him slotting right there in that second spot, up 10 spots from where he started tonight's race. Gary Wells in the 24 sitting right there in third. Nigel Christensen back in the 4th spot, also up 18 spots from where he started tonight's race. Multiple drivers going to come to pit road. Looks like all of your lead lap drivers are indeed going to come to pit road. Justin Gann, Casey Duncan, Nick Hunt, Jason Ayrson all joined the lead lap cars coming down pit road. So with our 4th and what may be our final caution, I say maybe because you just never know at Daytona International Super Speedway with the drivers on to pit road for what may be the final time. We're going to break away for a small commercial break. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
I Racing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
Backtrack side as the field heads into turn number 3, beginning to get double file for what may be our final run to the checkered flag here tonight. 4 cautions on the speedway here tonight at Daytona International Super Speedway for the Daytona 240. Michael Mueller, familiar man with that top spot, once again will lead the field back to the restart box. Ford Mustang pace car ducks off. We're ready to fire things off. Once again, Michael Mueller has control over the race. He hits the loud pedal. Green flag flies. Once again, here from Daytona International Super Speedway, Jim Ott looks to try to gain a few spots, and just look at all the cars without a nose. No front clip, no hood at all. Multiple drivers damaged. Here tonight, we have still got 12 drivers on the lead lap after multiple drivers took a wave around that time by. They're able to get themselves back onto the lead lap and try to see if they can gain a position or two, but still a hot and heavy battle up at the front of this field. We have got a 6-car breakaway as Mueller leads Mraz, Wells, and Adi Christensen and Atkins Jr. all at the front of this field. When will they make the move? When will Mraz try his hand at getting by that 51 of Michael Mueller? We'll have to wait and see how it all unfolds. Your top 6 all nose to tail. Now Michael Atkins Jr. looks to the high side. That Mountain Dew 41 on a charge now from the 5th spot. Now taking over the 4th spot, knocking on the door of the top 3. Now Michael Atkins Jr. on the move on the outside all by himself. Can he get some help? Which one of these drivers is going to see him on the move and say, you know what? It's time to go, and jump out there right in front of that 41. Here comes Roddy Adi looking to the outside with Michael Atkins Jr. They're going to get teamed up with each other, see if they can't get around Nigel Christensen, possibly Gary Wells in that 24 right there. 3rd car in line on the inside, making up your last driver in the podium spots here tonight. Gary Wells, heck of a race, heck of a job out there all race long with just 6 laps to go. Your top 6. Oh, contact! Christensen into Michael Atkins Jr. They get out of shape. Roddy Yachty gets out of line as well. Those drivers lose a little bit of ground, a little bit of time. Michael Atkins Jr. able to recover the quickest. He stays packed up with your top 3. It's a 4-car breakaway at the front of the field. Keep an eye on Christensen and Adi, though. Those two drivers able to stay with each other, still within 1 second of your race leader. So look for those two drivers to start pushing heavily and try to make a run back to the front of the field. Michael Atkins Jr. again looks to the outside of Gary Wells, trying to take that 3rd spot away. And you gotta know, oh, and contact between the 24 of Wells and Atkins Jr. Wells hard into the outside wall. We stay green flag racing. Oh my goodness, Gary Wells hard into that outside wall. That's gonna put an end to a great night for that 24. We'll jump back up here now as it is a 2-car breakaway with 5 laps to go for this time by Michael Mueller, Andrew Mraz. They have broken away after the contact between the 24 of Gary Wells and Michael Atkins Jr. sent Wells and Atkins Jr. into the outside wall on the backstretch. Robbie Adi, Nigel Christensen able to pounce. They're going to take 3rd and 4th now. They're nose to tail on the speedway. What will Christensen do? Will he push all he can push, or will he be content to try to make a move to take that 3rd and final podium spot here late in the going? And what will Mraz do at the top? We will and do apologize. We will jump back up front to that battle for the top spot. Had to mute the mic for just a minute, had to sneeze, didn't want that on air, nothing like that, so had to step away for just a brief second. Nigel Christensen all over that 42, still sitting back in that 4th spot. Will Christensen try to take over that 3rd and final spot in the top 3 positions in the podium? The 28 of Mraz right there, and Mueller having some issues, connection issues, and Mueller drops from the speedway. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Michael Mueller, after leading a ton with just 2 laps to go, popsicle sticks for your new race leader, Andrew Mraz, as Michael Mueller has had some technical issues and has dropped from tonight's race. He is going to fall rather deep through the field and outside of your top 10. But more importantly, can Andrew Mraz somehow keep the speed up? Can he somehow keep that 28 Ford Mustang out in front of Robbie Adi and Nigel Christensen? Those two drivers coming very fast, 2.5 seconds, I should say, behind your race leader. Can they get the job done off of turn number 4? Mraz to the line. White flag in the air. Final lap here from Daytona International Super Speedway, in front of this field by 2.2 seconds. Can Mraz keep the gap? Can he keep it in that top spot and into victory lane for the first time here tonight? And we're going to have a first-time winner no matter who walks away with this race win. Your top 3 drivers all yet to get to victory lane here tonight. Nigel Christensen trying all he can to push Robbie Adi in that 42 up to the front all over the speedway. Just 1 second back now is Adi as they enter turn 3. Big time run coming from these two drivers. I don't think they're going to get there. Not going to have enough time off of 4 for the final time. Your race leader, Mraz to the line. Here comes. Whoa, Robbie Adi, all types of out of shape. He comes, crosses back across the line in that 2nd spot. Nigel Christensen up there in the 3rd spot. So big time shout out to all of those drivers right there at the front. And what a way to make your debut here in the RB Rigs Custom Computers Xfinity Series. Nigel Christensen, heck of a job, but Robbie Oddie, what a splash being made here tonight. Debut race, walking away in the second position inside of that 42 machine. Oh my. And yes, I would have to agree with the chat out there. Does suck. Isn't good. I don't want to use that. Yeah. Not very good for Mueller that late in the race to have that kind of trouble. Big disappointment for him, as well as all of his fans out there on the YouTube side of things, as well as people joining us in Facebook and Twitch. Big time moment there for Mueller, and unfortunately, tough break. Not going his way. Gary Wells, also one of those drivers with a hard pill to swallow at the end of tonight's race, as Andrew Mraz enjoys his first race win of the season. That 28 burning it down, ripping up the grass down there in the infield. And with all that being said, race fans, we're going to step away for just a brief commercial break to get things set up and ready to go for your post-race interview. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
And back trackside as tonight's Daytona 240 has come to a close. Not very much left for us to do here after a great race. Man, what a crazy race. We had a few cautions mixed up in there, had a big one catch multiple drivers out. Nonetheless, we had a great finish on our hands. Let's see if we can't grab in a word or two with the driver that walked away in the third and final podium spot here tonight. Nigel Christensen is Dave in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Hey, man. First and foremost, I want to say, heck of a job, dude. 19 spots gained from where you started tonight's race to finish in the third spot. So that in itself is a job well done, dude.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a battle back, and we had a lot of things fall in place that luck was on our side.
I want to talk a little bit about the middle portion of the race. We seen a green flag pit stop take place. At any point in time, did you and the 20 crew, did you think we may get a few of those green flag pit stops in, 2 or 3, and stretch this thing out green to the end?
Yeah, I watched the truck race yesterday, and they went flag to flag. And so my initial thoughts, I mean, the drivers in this league are really talented. So my thought was that this was probably going to be the same way. And me and the 2, we got caught in no man's land actually during that first pit stop. So I thought, honestly, at that point, my day was probably going to be done. But it all worked out. We were able to kind of jump up there with that caution, and they just kind of trickled from there. Cautions breed cautions. So.
Absolutely. Well, walk us through those final few laps. You ended up in a very close battle there coming towards the line. Walk us through a little bit of what you felt and seen from your driver's seat.
Well, there was a little bit of a tangle that happened ahead of us, and it ended up putting me and Robbie in a position where we were by ourselves. And then the 51 and the 28 were all by themselves. And well, I figured, I'm going to try to get P3. It's my best bet. And then all of a sudden, the 51 just disappeared, and it gave us a chance. And at that point, I was like, I just got to do everything I can to push Robbie. And we both had some damage, and we were talking, we probably wish that we would have swapped spots because I was pushing the air better than he was. And if we would have, I think we would have been able to give Andrew a chance there. But at the end of the day, it all worked out, and I felt bad. I thought I was going to wreck Robbie, but I was pushing him as hard as I could coming off 4. And it was fun. It was a crazy opportunity there for us.
Well, Nigel, we do want to recognize the fact that first time, I believe, here in the post-race interview, so a heck of a job walking away in the third place here tonight. And with that being said, do you think this gives you any more momentum heading forward into the next few races that we have in this RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series? We head to Indianapolis next, then to Darlington. What's your thoughts on those 2 upcoming tracks?
So I'm super excited. I was super pumped for Daytona. It's one of my favorites just because, it's so chaotic. It's a lot of fun. Everybody has a chance. And for me, I'm probably one of the least experienced ones in the league. So, being able to run, toe to toe with these guys, it's awesome. As far as Indianapolis goes, I'm really, really excited for that. I've been preparing, and, we had that on officials this last week. So, I'm ready for it. We'll see what we can do. I'll put myself up against anyone, and we'll see how the momentum shakes out as we get into the postseason here.
Well, Nigel, again, hats off. Congratulations on a great race run here tonight, finishing in the third spot. So before we let you go, would you like to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous? Thank anybody on the side of that 20 car?
Yeah, I just want to say thanks so much to my biggest supporter, my dad, back at home in North Dakota. I love you. He watches me all the time, and really excited. I know he's probably more excited than I am right now. So really just want to give him a shout out. My fiance, she watched me tonight, and I love you. And anybody else that was out there watching me tonight, just super excited, and I'm happy to be talking to you, Dave.
All right, my man. Well, again, congratulations and hats off with the great race run. And we look forward to catching up with you a little bit later on the season after you've already broke down the door to the podium boxes here. So you know how to get here. Let's see if you can't get back.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave.
There you have it. Some final words from the driver walking away in the third and final podium spot here tonight. Driver inside of that 20 machine, driver that made up the most ground here tonight, your biggest mover of the race inside that Toyota Supra, Nigel Christensen, walking away with a heck of a run here tonight from Daytona International Super Speedway. That's going to bring us to our second place driver. Let's see if we can dial up that driver inside the 42 machine. Robbie Oddie, it's Dave in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, buddy.
Hey, bud, heck of a job, heck of a run. Man, you were all but wrecked coming out of turn number 4 on that last lap.
Yeah, a little bit of wheel into it, and, we came home with that second place finish.
Man, a little bit, I think, is an understatement, my man. You were almost drifting coming back up onto the track and across the line. It was, man, hats off. It was a heck of a job. And with all that being said, man, your first race of the season here in the Xfinity Series, if I'm not mistaken, walking away with a second place, man, you got to feel good about that debut.
Yeah. It's my first time. I took a hiatus from my racing. I've been gone for about 10 months. So first actually league race back into it. Made a couple mistakes I could avoid, but we were able to rebound pretty good. And, I'm happy with that second place. Coming to Daytona, you just never know what's going to happen.
Well, with Daytona being a toss-up, you being fresh back on the sim once again, coming right into the hornet's nest, if you will, right here at Daytona International Super Speedway. I want to get your thoughts on next Wednesday's night race in Indianapolis Motor Speedway. How you feeling about almost the cards being stacked on you right now? A Super Speedway, then we head to the Brickyard, and then the Lady in Black Darlington Raceway. Man, that's a tough little stretch to come back to.
Yeah, very, very tough, very tough. But, we're going to have to go to those tracks eventually. Indy's a very flat track. You got to save those tires on exit and just underdrive the corners. Darlington's just all about keeping it off the wall. So I'm excited to get back to it. Looking forward to just competing.
Well, Robbie, it's been a pleasure watching you rejoin the league and rejoin the racing here, and walking away with a great finish here tonight, walking away in the second spot. So before we let you go, would you like to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous, thank anybody on the side of that 42?
Well, I should have ran the 45. That was on me, but I just got to thank, Phoenix Sim Sports, Kyle and all the guys back there. We're going to make a Road to Pro run this year, so I got to thank them for all the work they do on that side of things. But other than that, got to thank my buddy John Furness. He's the person who told me to run this league, and he didn't even show up. But other than that, that's about it.
All right, well, there you have it. Final few words from the driver walking away in second place here tonight. Driver inside of the 42-45, Robbie Oddie. That's going to lead us to the man of the moment, walking away with the race win for the first time in victory lane this season in the RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series. Andrew Mraz, you got a copy?
I do, Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Daytona win. Gotta love it.
Able to get the job done. I mean, it was a little bit let's see, sketchy maybe might be the right word there in those final about 5 laps or so.
Oh yeah, definitely. Knowing that my teammate Michael Mueller got a black flag on that restart, and he didn't agree with the call, but that's between him and the admins and whatnot. But he ran it out until the simulator pretty much kicked him out, and by that time we got a 3.5 second lead onto the second pack of 2 cars, third and second place there. And once he got booted, I was all by myself, and all of a sudden the air hit the front end of my nose, and there goes the speed that I had.
Absolutely, a big time difference from running packed up right behind another driver to being the one punching the hole in the air. With all of that kind of done and over with, though, being able to to move forward in the season, now having a race win in your back pocket doesn't necessarily get you in the chase, but it does give you quite a bit of a points bonus there in the standings. How are you looking forward towards the rest of the season as we hit some major, I call them trouble tracks, Indianapolis Motor Speedway as well as Darlington coming up, and multiple other tough tracks still left on the schedule?
Yeah, I just when I'm thinking about the Brickyard Indianapolis, I think of it being a huge square Daytona or Talladega. It's a super speedway pretty much, where you're drafting on the long straightaways, and but you have those sharp 90-degree corners to worry about. But it's mainly about the drafting and getting the best line off the corners and the acceleration, and trying to put the power down to the ground and not have wheel spin.
Well, Andrew, now that you have that race win, does it give you any more confidence moving forward, knowing that, all right, I've been to victory lane, I can get there again? Or is it just such a tough league that when you get there, you just have to really enjoy that moment?
You pretty much have to enjoy that moment when those moments come to you. Sure, I would like to win more than just one this season, but having that one win, I can hold my head up high and say that I actually won a race in this league against these tough competitors like Todd Cray, Justin Gann, Michael Mueller, all those guys. Those guys are always quick, week in, week out. They always have top 5, top 10 finishes. But yeah, it's having one win is amazing. Sure, I would love more, but I'm not going to count my chickens until they hatch.
Absolutely. Well, man, heck of a job knocking down the door in the winners column, going to victory lane here tonight in the Daytona 244, the RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series. Before we let you go and enjoy the night and the rest of your celebrations, would you like to give any shout-outs, thank yous, love yous, thank anybody else on the side of that 28 machine?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Michael Mueller for sticking around until he got booted. Definitely that helped seal the win. Without him sacrificing his position and going multiple laps down, in a sense, I would not have gotten this victory. I probably would have gotten 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe even 6th place. But I would like to really thank him for sticking it out till that end there. Lowline Racing for being on the car. You for broadcasting Turn 3. Justin Gann, Don, and Andy for putting on this amazing league, and all the competitors for pretty much racing clean, pretty much, and owning up to their mistakes on pit road and all that stuff.
All right, Andrew. Well, again, congratulations. Hats off, my man. And we'll look forward to catching up with you later on through the season.
All right. Thank you, Dave.
There you have it. A man that's going to enjoy the moment, walking away in victory lane for the first time this season. Michigan's very own Andrew Mraz piloting that 28 machine home to victory lane here tonight in Daytona International Super Speedway. And what an end, a crazy end. A black flag penalty coming out, driver having some issues getting, not being there at the end, losing connection with the server, so Mueller drops all the way through the field. Oh, man, it was a crazy, crazy run there for multiple drivers. How about the big one just past the 60-lap mark here tonight? A lot of drivers caught up and involved in that one as well. So we had all different types of racing action, all different types of scenarios going on the speedway here tonight. And whew, what a night it was. What a race it produced. And what a week so far here on the home network of SwiftMotorSports. We have had quite a week here at Daytona International Super Speedway. And we look forward to the next coming weeks here in Swift Motorsports, as it looks like the producer's hitting the button, so it's time to run down your unofficial race results here in round number 7 of season number 2 for the Swift Motorsports RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series, walking away with the race win. First time winner on the season, the 28 of Andrew Mraz. Making his resurgence, re-emergence, and reappearance, knocking down the door in a podium spot. Check that out. Robbie Otti walks away in the 2nd position here tonight. And rounding out your top 3, your final podium driver here tonight inside of the 20 machine, Nigel Christensen. Jim Mott gonna bring his 4 machine home in the 4th spot. Todd Cray gonna round out the top of 5. The 41 of Michael Atkins Jr. gonna slot home in the 6th spot. 7th goes to Gary Wells. Edward Bray pilots that 66 machine home in the 8th spot, while Brandon Freeze walks away in 9th. Rounding out your top 10, first driver scored off of the lead lap, the 30 of Justin Gann. Nick Hunt in the 00 gonna finish just behind him in 11th. 12th place goes to KC Duncan. Mike Franklin gonna finish in 13th. 14th place goes to Tommy Haynes and his 17 machine. And Jonathan Cogswell rounds out the top 15. Michael Mueller drops all the way down to 16th after being right there with a chance for the race win. The 44 of Jason Harrison gonna finish in 17th. Lee Staples in the 5 caught up in an incident, finishes 7 laps off of the race lead, back in the 18th position. Finishing in 19th tonight, 25 laps down, was the 62 of Stephen Ayers Jr. John Wimbish gonna finish back in the 20th spot. 21st goes to Bob Deuce. Cade Sayre gonna finish in 22nd. 23rd goes to the 33 of Terry Kahn. David Cameron gonna slot home back in the 24th position. And as always, big time thank you to the race control and race admins over there. Don Kidder up in race control, keeping everybody straight on the track, making sure we've got everything straightened out each and every time we go back green flag racing. So a big time shout out and thank you to Kidder up there in the race control, getting everything done and situated for us here. And with that being said, race fans, it's been another great racing night here in the RIGS Custom Computers Xfinity Series. We've got some great races coming up, and if you haven't already, throw these drivers a thumbs up, click subscribe, and smash that bell over there on the right hand side, getting notified anytime we go live here on the Turn 3 Racing Network. Whether it's myself, Darkside Dave in the Cave, or anybody else back at the Turn 3 headquarters, we do appreciate each and every one of you each and every time you stop by. Whether you're just casually stopping through or the dedicated fan, friend, or family, we do appreciate each and every one of you. Without you, there would be no us. And with all that being said, it's a new day, new year. Stay safe, stay loved. Until next time, we'll see ya in Turn 3.